We all know it. We've played at least one of them. But did you know about its predecessors and how it all came to be? Do you know about its deepest secrets and what went on behind the scenes? This is the evolution of the world's first realistic mobile simulator. This is the evolution of Asphalt.
"1999 was one of the best years in the history of video game. It was the dawn of game development, and many publishers were scrambling to make a name for themselves. There were popular releases like Crash Team Racing and Gran Turismo 2. Most driving video games during this time were a blend between simulation and arcade racing. The games were, however, mostly released on PlayStations. One of the co-founders and deputy CEO of Ubisoft, Michel Guillemot, saw an opportunity in creating games for the devices of the future, the handheld devices. By 1999, he already had a vast amount of experience about publishing video games, having worked at Ubisoft since 1986 alongside his brothers. December 1999, he established the first office and the headquarters of what is now Gameloft in Paris, France. In 2004, Gameloft published its first ever game, Asphalt Urban GT. It was a racing video game made for the Nintendo 3DS, Nokia N-Gage and J2Me platforms. The game had support for wireless multiplayer hosting up to 4 players. On the Nintendo 3DS, it took advantage of 3D graphics support and showed actions in 3 camera angles. There were replays of the gameplay as well. The N-Gage version of this game received favorable reviews, while the 3DS version received mixed reviews. It received a runner-up position in GameSpot's 2004 Best N-Gage Game Award category, losing to Colin McRae Rally 2005. In 2005, with the success of their first game, Gameloft was now looking at expanding and reaching a wider audience on the handheld devices. The company created the second sequel of their first game and named it Asphalt Urban GT 2. It was made available on N-Gage, NDS, PSP, Symbian OS, and J2Me platforms. The sequel had a similar approach to racing as Need for Speed Burnout. Players could eliminate other opponents or players by performing takedowns or ramming them off the walls. Like the previous entry, the gameplay featured real-world locations in tracks such as Paris, New York, Miami, Las Vegas, Cuba, Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, and Hong Kong. It also featured 57 vehicles, 45 of which are licensed from 23 real-world manufacturers. The game was met with mixed reviews. Some praised it for the greater selection of vehicles and graphics, while some were unimpressed by its AI problems. By 2006, Asphalt was now growing with new offices situated around the world. Shanghai-based studio then developed another sequel of the series with a new title, Asphalt 3 Street Rules, and released it for the Java-based mobile phones in 2006 and in 2007 on non-Java-based mobile phones. It was also released in 2008 for Nokia's N-Gage 2.0 gaming platform and for the first time on Android in 2009. The game included several exciting events or modes ranging from race with 7 opponents, duel a one-on-one race, beat 'em all where players must crash other opponents, a cop chase, and cash attack. The game received a lot of positive reviews. It was a hit and topped the N-Gage sales chart between June 16th to 22nd of 2008. The enormous success of Asphalt 3 gave Gameloft the publicity and attention it greatly needed from its audience. The company released a couple of other sequels of the series, which were successful, including Asphalt for Elite Racing in 2008, which was even available on iOS and iPod, Asphalt 5 in 2009, and Asphalt 6 Adrenaline in 2010. In 2011, Gameloft did a conversion of Asphalt 6 Adrenaline, which was mainly an iOS platform game, and ported it for the Nintendo 3DS, thereby giving it a title Asphalt 3D. It featured 17 tracks, 42 licensed sport vehicles, and a multiplayer that could support up to 6 players. The game was published by Ubisoft for the Nintendo 3DS, and it received negative reviews from critics. It held an average score of 47% at Game Rankings. Many critics described it as an absolute joke. Gameloft had made a title for itself and wasn't about to stop making games just because of one project that received so much backlash from the audience. In fact, they had a greater amount of tools and resources at their disposal. Friends like Konami Japan, a multinational entertainment company and video game developer based in Japan, together with Ubisoft, had helped in the publishing of Asphalt 3D in Japan and worldwide, and were ready to publish another one of Gameloft's installment. Gameloft therefore developed the 8th sequel of the Asphalt series, which they named Asphalt Injection. The game contained 3 main gameplay modes: a career mode which allowed players to unlock cars, tracks, and upgrades. A free play allowed players to play with previously unlocked cars, and multiplayer allowed them to play against other players online. It was published in 2011 to 2012 on Android and PlayStation Vita, again by Ubisoft and Konami in Japan. It seems 2011 wasn't really a good year for Gameloft. Their attempts to bring back their initial glory with this release were futile, as it again received many negative feedback from the audience and the communities. In Japan, Famitsu, a line of Japanese video game magazines, gave it a score of all 7s for a total of 28 out of 40. Later on in June 2012, Gameloft was back with another sequel with so much improvements. The new sequel, Asphalt 7 Heat, was the first title that maintained a similar look on both the iPhone and iPad. It had graphical and frame rates improvements as well as a new improved multiplayer. The game was packed with 80 licensed cars. It was met with a lot of positive reviews, scoring a total of 83 out of 100 in Metacritic and 81% on Game Rankings. Gameloft could now breathe with that little bit of reputation they were slowly taking back. In 2013, Gameloft had established another studio in Barcelona. Gameloft Barcelona developed a new installment of the series and published it with the title Asphalt 8 Airborne in August 22, 2013. This was by far the most successful season with a total of 470 million players, and it is obvious why many players liked it. Asphalt 8 had 4 types of controls: tilt to steer, tilt and icons, on-screen controls, and tap to steer. In this series, players were introduced to incredible stunt jumps that earned them boosts according to their airtime with over 390 vehicles. A perfect nitro was also introduced in the sequel, as well as a realistic crash simulation with amazing sound effects and visuals. With over 180 events split into 8 seasons, which progressively become more difficult, the game gave the series a realistic feel. Players raced across the Great Wall of China, Dubai, and the San Diego Harbor. The game made extensive use of stimulated HDR rendering and pixel shaders, which created a realistic feel and overall look as seen on the sky and road reflections. It was published across several platforms including Windows and macOS. It garnered several positive reviews worldwide and a score of 91 out of 100 on Metacritic. The following year, Gameloft's Madrid studio released an installment of the Asphalt series that was an absolute twist from its predecessors. Asphalt Overdrive was an endless running racing video game. Cars accelerate automatically and are fixed to an endless patch with 3 lanes. The iOS version was received with mixed reviews and scored a 59 out of 100 in Metacritic. In 2015, Gameloft published Asphalt Nitro, a spin-off based on the 2013 mainline rendition Asphalt 8 Airborne. It had 8 race modes including Classic, Versus, Elimination, Knockdown, Infected, Gate Drift, Catch and Escape. There were a total of 16 playable tracks based in Italy, Brazil, China, Nevada, Alps, and Iceland. It was published on JDMI, Android, and Tizen. It has a Google Play rating of 7+ and 4+ on Apple. The video game industry can be challenging, especially with changing consumer expectations and the rise of mobile gaming. Gameloft had opted for retailing their games on App Store as a way to monetize them rather than allowing ads to run on them. This had given them enormous success as players were free from regular and unnecessary ads that were too distracting from the gameplay and progress. In 2015, however, the company made losses which went up to 16.6 million euros. The losses were mainly attributed to the one-time purchase model which they had implemented in their games. Up to 7 Gameloft studios were closed within a year due to the financial constraints. So many workers were laid off. Gameloft by now was in dire need of a hand in regards to financial sponsorship. In February 2016, Vivendi, a French media conglomerate, acquired 30% of shares of Gameloft. Vivendi surprisingly was making an unstoppable move towards acquiring all the shares in Gameloft. By June 2016, they had bought up to 56% of these shares, giving them a greater power during the company's decision-making. Not long after, they had acquired 96% of these shares, forcing Michel Guillemot to go back to Ubisoft. During this time, Asphalt Xtreme was being developed by Gameloft Studio in Madrid. The game was released on October 27, 2016, but later terminated when the 7th studio in Madrid developing it closed. This was going to be the first, and the only off-road racing edition in the Asphalt series. Netflix acquired the publishing rights of the game from November 2021 and started hosting Asphalt Xtreme servers for the mobile versions of the game. They re-released the game on Google Play Store and App Store. The acquisition of Gameloft by Vivendi meant its course would definitely change at some point. The following years was a massive downfall of Gameloft. They published Asphalt Street Storm in 2017, the third spin-off of the series. It was focused on the endurance racing similar to the CSR racing series. The game was available on Android, iOS and Windows PC, but later on, it faced some changes and eventual shutdown. Gameloft then decided to up their game, and they even went to an extent of signing a new deal with Italian motorsport company Lamborghini. This allowed them to study and feature Lamborghini Essenza SCV12 and a couple of other cars from this brand. They studied the cars in detail, including the RPMs and design details, which were then incorporated in Asphalt 9 Legends. Asphalt 9 Legends had the most improvements to the series. HDR techniques and particle effects had been utilized in the game, turning every race into a blockbuster movie. The team had also improved on customizations, introducing a new car editor that allowed players to define the exact color and materials of their vehicles. The game had up to 70 tracks that were based on real-life locations. It was released on July 25, 2018 worldwide. It, however, received mixed reviews despite the new improvements and scored a total of 61 out of 100 on Metascore. Many players were complaining about the disruptive ads and in-app purchases that were way too expensive, which were now being implemented by Vivendi, contrary to what the fans were used to with the Asphalt's initial series. Constant crashes were also being reported, while some appreciated the new look and the new tracks added. Gameloft was striving to get back on its toe and regain stability, with so many accusations from players and the community ranging from pay to win to unrealistic in-app purchases. The company did not release any installment in the Asphalt series up to 2021. They made a sequel on Asphalt Nitro dubbed Asphalt Nitro 2, managing to impress players with an offline premium game that sold between $1.5 to $2. Over the years, Asphalt series has progressed, struggled so much, and created an impact on its players. The franchise created an enormous fandom that exists to this day. The new developers have been striving to revive this series to its initial glory. Last year, they published an update for the Asphalt 9 Legends, which brought exciting new content, which included new cars e.g. Lamborghini Revuelto, Koenigsegg CCXR, Maserati MiG-12, Jaguar X Junior 9, and FV Frangivento Sorpasso GT3. The newest installment of the series is one most promising to revive the series. Asphalt Legends Unite was published on July 25, 2024. It was an expansion update of Asphalt 9 Legends Unite. However, it has new powerful features like crossplay that allows multi-platform gameplay with friends, team pursuit, and 7 new cars and a new track. It is pretty clear how daunting game development can be. Catching up with the latest industry trends is what Asphalt delayed in, and it cost the franchise dearly. Regardless, new creative ideas like the crossplay gives it a better chance and sets it apart from other games. Slowly by slowly, the series is coming back to life and players are excited to see what the next update brings. The information I have shared with you here is based on the research I did online. Thank you so much for your time and for watching the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, do like and subscribe. I am looking forward to hearing from you in the comments. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao!